This is Electric Universe Geology Earth News. We're going to look at sea level now and how variable it can be, how plastic the oceans are because they're liquid water. Here we have Salinas, Monterey Bay. This valley drains into Monterey Bay. It starts up in here. There's reservoirs that drain all the way down this valley. It's quite wide. It's full of oil in places. Lots of oil. Major oil fields. And it looks as if this area tells a story. Let's look at satellite. Here we have Monterey Bay, and where this drainage apparently entered at a time when sea level was lower. Because if this is the ocean and you have a river running into it, you're not going to get a canyon. You're just going to get water running into the ocean, becoming homogeneous with the rest of the ocean. You won't get a canyon. So you have this area here, which is problematic. It implies that this area was dry at one time. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this canyon. Now let's go over and look at Google Earth for a different perspective. Here we have the Google Earth view, which is nice. All the different Google Maps have little peculiarities that make them interesting. Here you have the canyon going all the way down to here. This seems to be the low point to me. And what's nice is that if you look over here, you can see the elevation where the cursor's pointing. So down here we have minus 12,000 feet, which implies, incredibly, that this area was dry 12,000 feet deep at one time in the past, while there were massive amounts of water running down north on 101 in California into Monterey Bay, ripping out this canyon, while other canyons are forming all along the continental shelf. That's really something. And what's even more interesting, it kind of matches up with a formation to the south. Let's look at that one now. Here we have Lake Titicaca in Peru. It's 12,500 feet above sea level. And according to geologists, there are saltwater shells and signs that this used to be the edge of the ocean surrounding this lake. And now the ocean is 12,500 feet lower than this area. So somehow or other, the ocean seems to have dropped 12,500 feet. And it seems as if the ocean rose in Monterey Bay something over 12,000 feet. Now, what could possibly cause that? I think it has to do with the equatorial bulge of sea level at the equator, where there's 68,000 feet of extra water at the equator because of centrifugal force. If you move 1,000 miles closer to the equator, sea level's going to rise over 11,000 feet. So the idea is Lake Titicaca is something over 1,000 miles south of the equator. Monterey Bay is north of the equator. If you move Monterey Bay closer to the equator by, let's say, 1,100 miles, and you remove Lake Titicaca 1,100 miles further to the south from the equator, you're going to have sea level rising 12,500 feet or so and falling 12,500 feet. In the case of Lake Titicaca, it's going to fall 12,500 feet approximately. In the case of Monterey Bay, it's going to rise something over 12,000 feet. It works in both instances. It might be a coincidence. I can't be certain that this has happened in the past. The fact that Lake Titicaca seems to have had sea level fall, and the fact that Monterey Bay seems to have sea level rising, kind of works together hand in hand. So maybe this is a factor, maybe it's not. It just seems like a peculiarity. So just something to think about. Thank you.